There we go. Okay, guys. So welcome back. I finish finish the setting of the windows here. Nice. So as I mentioned in the introduction, there's this class complements the class I was teaching with the previous group from Introduction to Reading and Writing. In this case, we're going to work with AI and plagiarism. So would you call this plagiarism? This is the first dynamic to work with today. So in the ever-evolving landscape of education, artificial intelligence tools are revolutionizing how students learn and how educators teach, offering a wealth of new possibilities. Just by looking at this quote, what do you think on the chat? Is this plagiarism? Why or why not? My students especially, and also teachers Audie, Astrid, and Maria, Daniela, if you are connected, please give me a point of view. Would you consider, from your point of view as teachers, would you consider this plagiarism? Why not? My students, please. I'm interested on your participation the most because I'm not evaluating my colleagues. Mm-hmm. Some students are sending me messages that they cannot connect. Okay. There's quotation marks, but no author attributed to the quote. Check that out. Hello, Kat. Welcome. Check what Professor Audie says, and that's really important. There is quotation marks. That's here. And we know it's a quote, but no author attributed to the quote. So we don't know who said this. Was this mentioned by the student? Was this something he just took from someone else? Hello, cat. So what about my students? Do you consider this plagiarism? I mean, this information is here. What do you say? Imagine yourselves as English teachers and you are correcting some student's assignment and you find this. And again, look at what Professor Audie mentioned. That's the key in this part. What do you say? Is this plagiarism? My students, hello, want to read you in the chat. Planet Earth to my students. Amy says, I was about to say no, but I think Professor Audie is right. Yep, as I mentioned, Professor Audie just hit the nail right in the head. You know it's a quote. You know it's a quote because you have the quotation marks. But who said this? When you quote something, you are supposed to mention who said that between parentheses. Remember the UPL law, the rule, sorry. You are supposed to mention who said that. So this is plagiarism. This is plagiarism. And this could be like an honest mistake. It could happen to any one of us. We are so tired just typing whatever we need to do. Then we quote something and we forget to like add between parentheses the name of the person and the year when this was mentioned. But that's still plagiarism. And it is a crime, by the way. Might I add, it is a crime. So, what will we explore today? First, understand digital plagiarism in the AI era. Extremely important. I told the previous group. Guys, 2026, you need to stop saying, no, the thing is, I don't use AI because I am not good with technology. Dude, you have to. You have to understand AI. You have to work with AI. Start using it. It's the future. If you don't start using it, you will for sure lose your job potentially, or you would lose the opportunity to get a better job. As it says, it's a crime indeed, only if they find out. Mm-hmm. Now, we're going to learn how to cite and paraphrase correctly when we get information from AI. I will show you the same example I used for the previous group from something, real life, something I did with the aid of ChatGPT. You're going to reflect on ethical authorship as future educators. So, as future educators, how much of AI use would you allow from your students? And what parameters or what limits would you establish as a teacher? And we're going to practice with hybrid texts. There is an interesting exercise where I'll show you a text written by a human, which is me, the AI version, and the hybrid version, where I asked ChatGPT to correct, not to correct, to improve the clarity of the paragraph. So I like to see whether you can identify which one is which. So that's an interesting exercise. It's a crime whatsoever. Dishonesty is what it is. Yes. The thing is that sometimes, Professor Odi, sometimes, sadly, dishonesty is not punished. Sadly. We know ethics exists. We know there are moral values that exist. And as professors, we have to, abide to them. But sadly, it's 2026 and dishonesty is not punished enough. It's not punished enough, sadly. And that's why we are where we are. Okay, so what is plagiarism today? And yes, I know that's Kakashi Sensei. I love anime. What is plagiarism today? Well, copy paste without citation. I mean, directly copying text from the internet or AI, just like I showed you at the beginning, like this. I'm just copying and pasting. And yeah, I use quotes, but who mentioned that? I didn't cite who said that. Paraphrasing without a source, which is changing words but not giving credit. Because some people, and that's happened to me in the past, students mention, no, teacher, I was paraphrasing Fulanito. But then I tell them, okay, even though you are paraphrasing, you need to mention that paraphrase from the original idea belonging to Fulanito. You have to, because you are sort of using the same words that an author used. You need to give credit, not quote, give credit, because it's not your ideas. Okay, it's your interpretation. Yes, but in this case, the use of this needs to be regulated, not forbidden. Yes, yes. It depends on what you do with it. The focus is on how you use it. Absolutely. Absolutely. I forgot to show the video to the previous group, but in this group, I'll show you a video, just a small abstract from a podcast, and it's a Mexican expert, an educator, and he mentions something about the artificial intelligence, the problem that's going on in Mexico right now. Yes, Professor Ori, according to, based on Fulanito's view, and then you paraphrase, you are giving credit. Let's do that. Let's say that you write an amazing book, guys. You write an amazing book on whatever topic. Then I read your book. I get an amazing quote from your book that I like. I learn the quote and then I use it on my own book, or I use it on a video on the internet, and I start making money with those ideas, which I took from your production. And then you see the video and you're like, wait a minute, I said that in my book, and this person is using my words as his. He's just paraphrasing. It's intellectual theft. Using AI without acknowledgement, like submitting text created by AI without saying so. I will show you an example of this today. Inventing fake sources or quotes. This is happening now. People using citations that don't exist and getting information from, I'm sorry for the way I'm going to say it, but sometimes they get sources from that place in our body where the sun doesn't reach well, something like that. And you're like, where did you get this from? Yeah, this, and you cannot find the author anywhere. That is still plagiarism in 2026. That is plagiarism. Now, question for you to answer in the chat with a T or an F for true or false. Asking ChatGPT to finish your assignment isn't plagiarism. True or false in the chat? Let me see. Asking ChatGPT to finish your assignment isn't plagiarism. What do you say in the chat? True or false? Hello? True or false in the chat about this one? Asking ChatGPT to finish your assignment. Like you do part of the assignment, but at the same time, you tell ChatGPT to finish it. Chat, I have this idea. Would you please finish it? Is that plagiarism? False, says Amy, but with a question mark. Invented sources, the AI LM is the culprit. Yeah. False. Finishing the paper is your job. So, absolutely false. Unless you quote. Exactly. If you don't quote, it's plagiarism. If you quote, it is not plagiarism. That is the most important thing. Depend. If you don't mention AI, of course, Alejandro, of course. If you quote, it is, and I will show you an example in a minute. What in a minute? Let me show you right now. Give me a second. Give me a second. Let me share. As I told the previous group, I also work for a Mexican university. And in this case, I was commissioned to create the content of some subjects. This is the name of the university. And this is one of the subjects that I was in charge of creating about. This is the content last year. And of course, as you can see, I'm quoting here. This is like the typical things, selling care, 1972, 1967. I'm quoting the ideas, as you can see here. This you see here, basado en la recopilación y síntesis en la información del tópico. I mean, this is a summary of what I said on the unit. Tópico 2, error versus equivocación versus lapsus, definiciones y ejemplos. This is a summary of everything. So it's my ideas here. What ChatGPT did was creating all of them, like putting them on this board, like here. This is what ChatGPT did. Okay. So I mentioned it's my ideas and I quote whatever I needed to quote. Same thing here. Again. But whenever I use ChatGPT, let me show you. Where is it? Interlanguage. Because this is like the structure you use when you quote. You have it from Manuel Upel, you know it, guys. Oh my God, again, the same thing happened with the previous group. I couldn't find the part where I mentioned using ChatGPT. Oh my God, where is the quote? Let me see if I can find it, guys. Ah, here. Again, the content starts here. Tópico 4. Ejemplos ilustrativos y análisis de patrones comunes, bla, bla, bla. This is my production. Okay, thank you, Astrid. This is my production, my ideas. I wrote this, blah, blah, blah. I explained this, ta, ta, ta. Nice. But then I said, it's so many words. And I know there are a lot of students, maybe you guys, who are more visual learners. So I wanted ChatGPT to generate like something visually attractive for my students to see. So I copied all of this information that I created, copied this, put it into ChatGPT, and asked it, hey, I need you to create an attractive visual representation of a summary on this content. And this is what ChatGPT did. Ejemplos ilustrativos y análisis de patrones comunes en aprendientes de inglés. Of course, look at the separation. Analysis. Of course, this is incorrect. This was created by ChatGPT. This. The content, the words, it's a summary of what I had here. But this was made by ChatGPT. I didn't do this. I am no designer. But at the end, I mentioned adaptado de un resumen del tópico generado por ChatGPT 2025. So I'm acknowledging, hey, it's just a summary. But this picture was created by ChatGPT from this information you just read. Then, once I finish, I need to quote it. OpenAI 2023, ChatGPT version 5.0, modelo de lenguaje recuperado de, and here, this is how you quote right now. This is how you guys have to quote when you use ChatGPT or any AI. It could be DeepSeek, it could be Gemini, whatever you are familiar with. So this is how you quote for it not to be plagiarism. Okay? Bear that in mind. Then we go back to our presentation. Kakashi Sensei here. In fact, when you ask ChatGPT to create a picture based on a character that everyone knows, like Kakashi Sensei from Naruto, those who have watched Naruto, you know this guy is almost exactly like Kakashi Sensei. But there are differences. The Konoha logo is not the same. His facial expressions are not the same, doesn't have the Sharingan or the marks. So you could say that ChatGPT is not exactly copying the character, is giving you a version of. Even ChatGPT tells you sometimes, no, I cannot do that because of copyright. ChatGPT understands that. Okay. And again, One Piece. It's similar to Luffy from One Piece, but it's not exactly Luffy. So, citation, paraphrasing, and recognition of sources. Let's share and let's take a look at this. So we use the author, date, and page if quoted. We have that information also at Manuel Upel. Okay? You have a model to follow. According to ChatGPT, and then with the date, and this is when you ask ChatGPT about something. Because what does ChatGPT or any AI do? They quickly search all over the web. Right now, with the new update, it gives you the source. It tells you where it got the information from. And you can take it from, but you have to mention according to ChatGPT, and then you quote like I mentioned. Recuperado de ChatGPT 2025 versión 5.0. You have to mention that. Reconocimiento uso de IA explícito. You guys have to do this. And I mentioned on the previous class, two of you guys, I'm not saying names, and this is being recorded. I'm not mentioning names, but a couple of you used AI to write the summary from the previous evaluation. I can use ChatGPT to know to see who used AI. And that I mentioned last class that I felt intellectually insulted because it's like, are you serious thinking you could trick me onto believing that you wrote something with AI and I wasn't gonna like notice? Come on, be better, guys. Requires paraphrasing with citation. We have worked about that. And of course, Manuel Upel enfatiza pensamiento crítico personal. So, taking this into account, an incorrect form to quote using AI would be, for example, technology helps learning. Uh-huh. Who says that? Do you say it? According to Garcia, 2023, technology enhances learning through engagement. This is the correct way to quote, to paraphrase, sorry. And Professor Ode was mentioning, according to, here we are paraphrasing. They will always find out sooner or later. Yes. And it's right now, it's easy to find out. I have a tool because I'm using ChatGPT Plus. I have a tool with ChatGPT Plus that easily helps me find who is using AI to do the evaluation. So, guys, I'm sorry. Check the UPEL rules. If you do something, this is plagiarism, you commit plagiarism, I'm sorry, you lose the full grade, 25 points. And I'm surprised. Those two persons, they know I found out because I didn't send them the evaluation and they haven't like told me, teacher, you didn't send me the report. Come on, guys, be better. For not for yourself, not for me, for the country. You're going to be English teachers in our country. You want our country to be better? Be better yourselves. Please, come on. Intellectual production. So, summary. Always show where your ideas come from. Human, like in this case, or AI, the example I mentioned where I quote and I mentioned that this was done with ChatGPT. Because again, any AI you use is a tool. It doesn't have to be the one doing everything. All my classes, I mentioned this with the other group, I design all my classes with ChatGPT. Do you think that I am that good to draw and design this? I wish I could draw like this. I don't. When I create your classes, I explain the idea for the slide to ChatGPT. And I tell them, listen, Chat, I have this idea of a comparative part where I show the APA norms and the Manuel Upel norms. I want you to have them next to each other and give me an example. And now that we are having like this anime theme for the pictures, for this one, I want you to be inspired by the One Piece anime. And this is what ChatGPT created. You can see some mistakes. There's a mistake here. You don't use tilde with año. You don't use it. You don't use it. This is a mistake by ChatGPT. So this is obviously created with ChatGPT, but the ideas, the content comes from here. That's the thing. I'm using AI as a tool. I don't tell ChatGPT, I need to teach a class about this. Would you create the class? Enter. No. Where is your creativity as a teacher? Where are your moral and ethical values? Let's practice. Now, source or AI. I'm going to show you three different, not three different, sorry, three written productions. And I want you to identify which one is fully human. I wrote one of those. Which one is AI generated? And from those three, which one is hybrid? Because what I did is I wrote something on ChatGPT. Then I told ChatGPT, would you create a better version of this paragraph? It did. It is AI generated. And then I told ChatGPT with the same paragraph. Now, would you create a hybrid version of what I wrote originally and the better version you just created? And that is the hybrid version. I'm going to show you the three productions in the chat. I want you to tell me, for example, okay, number one is human. Sorry, number two is AI, and number three is the hybrid version. Take your time. Take your time. You are detectives. If you're it, for those maybe curious, this is from an anime called Spy X Family. I love this anime. It's on Netflix, by the way. So take a look. Now, take your time. Take your time. By the way, there's a mistake here for ChatGPT. It's supposed to say this collaborative process fosters a crucial, sorry, critical thinking. Critical thinking. There is a mistake here because sometimes ChatGPT has a hard problem like creating letters, but it's supposed to say critical thinking. Okay. Take your time in the chat. Tell me which one you think I wrote, which one you think was created by ChatGPT, and which one you think is the hybrid version. Mm-hmm. Take your time. Mm. Let me check here. A ver, Alejandro, Amy, Diego, Elienay, Adriana Escobar, bienvenida. Tefi Torres, Iraldine, Catherine, Luisana, Luisiana, María José, María Torres, Petit, Roger y Jagnis. Okay. Take your time. And in the chat for those joining, Amy says, wait, because everybody's saying. Amy says, one is human, two is hybrid, three is AI. Is the other way around, Amy. AI. Geraldine says, human, hybrid, AI. Kitty says, number two is generated. One, kind of human. Three could be the hybrid one. Ellie and I agrees with Amy. I would say hybrid human AI, says Professor Odi. Let me see. Two more guesses, and then I'll let you know which one I wrote, which one ChatGPT enhanced, and which is the combined form. Nobody else? Okay, so the final verdict is, let's say, Kat says, human AI hybrid, just like that, Kat. Nice. This one, I wrote it down. This is my version. This is my version. This is what I wrote. This is what ChatGPT did as the better version of my ideas. And this is the hybrid version. And if you can see, what does ChatGPT? I purposely used a lot of simple sentences. Collaboration in the classroom helps students learn how to communicate and solve problems as a team. Collaborating in classroom is a beneficial activity for students as it enhances teamwork and problem-solving skills while also promoting critical thinking and building confidence among peers. So ChatGPT just made one big sentence from the two sentences I originally gave. And then I asked ChatGPT, now, would you please create a hybrid version merging your ideas and mine? And this is what it did. By working together in class, students can improve their communication skills and solve problems as a team. This collaborative process fosters critical thinking and strengthens trust between classmates. So this can be done with artificial intelligence, guys. Here, when you do this or this one, you have to mention that you used AI. I have a comment, says Professor Audi. If you write too well, the text might be marked as, yes, AI generated. So we might have to dumb down our text. Not fair. That's why I mentioned there is a tool. I don't know if it exists for Gemini, DeepSeek, or the other AIs, but there is a tool with ChatGPT that helps you find out. It gives you a contrast. I don't know, it checks and it finds out the sentences. Yeah, sometimes, but I agree, Professor Odi. We need to dumb down our text sometimes, which is not fair because a lot of people write beautifully. And I mean, having to decrease the quality of my written productions just so that my teacher doesn't think that I did something with AI, that's one of the consequences of AI nowadays. And these are the type of things that you guys will face in your classroom. If it is not that you're facing them right now, for those who are working with this. Okay, let's move on. Now, how do we show that we use AI responsibly now that we understand that there is an ethical use that we have to have with AI? Well, let's check this out. This paragraph was edited using Grammarly. Grammarly is another AI tool that you can use. Basically, ChatGPT or Gemini can do the same thing that Grammarly do, basically. But this is a way that you show, okay? So that your teacher does not say, okay, this was generated. I love Grammarly, says Elena. You can also say, I used ChatGPT to generate ideas, then rewrote them in my own words. You might say, yeah, it takes a lot of time. Yeah, but we're still keeping the human side in our productions. For example, I and I mentioned this example with the other group. I have a student from the academy I work for. That's the name I have here, English Bytes. This is the academy I work for. And this student, she mentioned, no, I have this speech. I just asked ChatGPT to translate it, but I want you to help me humanize the text. And while we were reading, yes, there were some things that ChatGPT almost literally translated from Spanish to English. And they weren't showing the real emotions that she wanted to convey. And I helped her with that. That's the human part of our productions. AI helped me outline the text, but all examples are my own. When you talk about outlining a text, it's like giving you the ideas on what to do. It's like ChatGPT tells you, well, you should start with a sentence that talks about this, this, and that. Then use a secondary idea that helps you reinforce your topic sentence. That is the outline. And that is a fair use of AI as a tool. It's giving you the map to follow, and you guys just focus on the intellectual production. Mhm. Now, unethical practice. Using AI generated text without disclosure equals plagiarism. And look at this. Again, I mentioned this was created using ChatGPT. And look at the mistake, the error, sorry. This is this. That's how you see this was used, created using AI. I told ChatGPT, I want an image of a character from the anime My Hero Academy. I want it to be pointing at the board, and on the board, I want you to use, and then I wrote this. So these are my ideas. ChatGPT created the rest, the pictures, the design, everything is ChatGPT. These are my ideas. So this is, I mean, I don't expect those who did send me the assignment with AI to mention, but not in my subject previously. Have you ever disclosed using AI in an assignment? Have you ever mentioned in your assignments, I use ChatGPT for this? Have you ever mentioned that? Have you ever, guys? Which is being honest, being ethical, being moral. Google Academic, nice, nice. Astrid says yes. Astrid works with me as well at the same Mexican university. I use it to check grammar, says Kitty. Okay. And that's a good use, Kitty, to check your grammar. You write whatever you need to write, and then you ask. For the previous group I mentioned, whenever I, for example, apply for another job, for example, once I wrote a paragraph, they asked me to like, okay, summarize your experience, your working experience in a paragraph. Okay, I wrote it down. And then I used ChatGPT and I told her, listen, this is my working experience. Would you please summarize? I think they asked like 300 words. Could you please summarize it in 300 words? So it helped me. The ideas were mine. ChatGPT just helped me uh, not clarify, like to make it shorter, maybe. But the idea was here. The production was here. Uh-huh. I don't like AI because of a water waste. Well, you're right, Maria said. I did mention using napkin to generate graphic material. Yes, that's an appropriate use. Yep, it points where you can improve your writing. Summarize. Yep. Summarize. Just summarize. No, I sometimes use it to check grammar, just like Louisiana. Okay. Okay. That's a fair use, Amy. A fair use of AI. Now, case study. Guys, check this paragraph. And I want you to, in the chat, tell me. I have already, of course, marked something for you. I want you to find two problems in this paragraph regarding the use of AI. So check the paragraph. Take a look. I already gave you some ideas. But how can you explain your findings in the paragraph as teachers? Take a look. You're a teacher checking that out. You have to mention how you got 80%. Very good. Iraldine. Now I'm joking. But very good, Ira. Aha, collaborative writing improves learning outcomes by 80%. As experts in education, 80%? And like Ira mentioned, how do you get that 80%? Who are these experts? Who are they? I mean, it could be true, but who are these experts? How do you know it's 80%? That's one problem. Very good, Ida. Uh-huh. Anybody else? Mhm. Just check and tell me. Any other trouble? Any other thing that makes you wonder, okay, but what's this? What's that? Where did you get this? Mhm. Me llegan las promociones en una app que tengo de comida cuando no tengo plata. Y ponen unas fotos de unas hamburguesas espectaculares y yo como que no, no tengo plata. 24 de enero, ¿qué plata voy a estar teniendo en estas alturas de la vida? Okay, using AI without editing anything. Uh-huh. It kind of promotes plagiarism because it says that they can use it without editing. Big red flag. Very good, Kitty. Yeah, AI tools are essential for success, maybe. Even if students use them without editing, it's promoting AI without editing. The last sentence is bold. Sorry. How come the solution is to be imposed as the solution? An absolute assertion with no proof is not science, but dogmatic and opinionated. Yep. It is promoting, yes, Jen, it's promoting plagiarism. That's what Kitty mentioned here. This is promoting plagiarism. And like Professor Odi says here, as Harvard stated, Harvard, like the university, you need to show, as a teacher, I would ask my student, okay, I hope at the end of your production, I hope to find a link to where the University of Harvard, maybe the spokesperson, mentions this. As Harvard stated in 2022, all students must start using AI to keep up. I did mention this at the beginning of the class, that you guys have to start using AI to keep up. But that's something I said. But as Harvard, is that an opinion Professor Odi mentioned, or is that a fact? Yes, the same idea. The same idea, Jengis. It's like, okay, yeah, fact versus opinion. I mean, we agree that we need to start using AI because it's the future. We agree with that. If you say no, we don't, check your facts because 2026, AI is everywhere. But that is an opinion, okay? But saying that the University of Harvard says so, I mean, is your opinion or is it a fact? So it's important. So this is something that as teachers from now on, guys, you have to do. For those working now in the system, if you're teaching at high schools, whatever, this is something we need to do because Venezuelan children, Venezuelan teenagers, they found out that AI can do everything for them, and now they don't worry about doing anything because AI can do it. And the teacher doesn't know. And yes, there are some colleagues who, yes, correct, 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 correct. That's it. And they don't care about learning. I don't know. I am old school. Call me old school, but I highly value when my students make their like they have their own ideas. In fact, and correct me if I'm wrong. Some of you guys in the previous evaluation, you got the 25 out of 25. In the final report, I did mention, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I did mention in private. There are some aspects that you can mention, that you can improve, sorry, but nothing to be worried about. Meaning that you did have some mistakes here and there, but your ideas were so good that I said, I cannot take a point from this student because his ideas or her ideas were good. So I highly value my students' own production. That's why in the report, I mentioned that. It's like, yes, I did find some mistakes you had, but nothing to worry about. Keep working. I love the way you think. I love your point of view. Those who are connected now and got 25, did I mention that in your report privately? Did I mention that? I don't know if I did. For those who got the 25, go back to the WhatsApp if you have my conversation there and tell me, did I mention something like that in your report? A Kitty se le fue la luz. Oh my God. And I was going, I think Kitty was one of the students who I mentioned that to. But okay, thank you, Amy. Thank you. I highly value my students' own production. You mentioned only one, Maria Isa. Okay, nice, nice. The point is conveying a message, even if it is expressed in a way that is not 100% perfectly reading. Exactly. Exactly. Uh, for example, this is a little bit out of a topic, but it's related. A lot of you guys want to lose your Spanish accent when you speak English. And there are a lot of studies now mentioning that we should just keep our accents. Yes, you should try to Americanize your pronunciation to help you in some aspects, but there's no problem. I have two cases. I have an Italian student learning English, of course, and I have a Spanish student learning English. And I love their accents. I love their accents. They are fluent, they are accurate when they speak. My Spanish student, let me see if I can imitate her. Every time she talks, she uses this intonation. It's like she never loses the Spanish intonation. Like she always talks like that, and it's so funny. And she's fluent. I'm not trying to change her accent. She says, "No, I don't like how I talk. I don't like how I talk, teacher, because I think that I am not speaking correctly." It's okay. You're fluent. I understand everything you say. No problem. Exactly. They are intelligible. That's the thing. Thank you, Professor Odi. My Italian student, it's so funny because when she speaks English, this is the way she talks. It's like, "Hello, Carlos. How are you doing today? I'm so sorry that I couldn't connect to the previous class. I was so very busy in my job." And it's her accent is so beautiful. Her Italian accent with English, so beautiful. I understand what they say. And Italian is such a strong language. There is a Venezuelan writer I like, and he speaks English with a Venezuelan intonation. Listening to him talk is addictive. Yeah. And plus, from native speakers I have talked to, they love our accents. They find them sexy. I don't know why, but they find our accents sexy. I don't know why. I find a British accent extremely sexy. I find a Spanish Argentinian accent extremely sexy. I find some Colombian Spanish accent way too sexy. I don't know why they like our intonation in English. They find it sexy. So be it. I don't know. But that's the thing, guy. Okay. Can you make it ethical? Tanjiro's working here. So look at this. ChatGPT said that collaborative writing is useful for students. I'm from Barquisimeto, Professor Odi. ChatGPT said that collaborative writing is useful for students. Okay. In the chat, I want you guys to rewrite this sentence to make it ethical and academic. I will show you a version here, but I want you to rewrite the sentence in the chat to make it ethical and academic. Let's see. Rewrite the sentence, make it ethical and academic. In the chat, of course. Mhm. Imagine that you use ChatGPT and it says this. So how would you express this sentence in your written production, your assignment? making it ethical and academic. That's important. Academic language is one important thing. Okay, Iraldine says, according to ChatGPT, collaborative writing could be beneficial for students. In that case, it's like you're paraphrasing. Very good. Anybody else? Thank you, Iraldine. As a teacher, I read that and I say, she is paraphrasing. She used ChatGPT because she's recognizing according to ChatGPT. And I understand what ChatGPT does when it searches all over the web. Iraldine is not claiming that she says that. She is recognizing, is acknowledging the use of AI. According to ChatGPT, the use of collaborative writing using AI can be useful for students. Okay, that's another way to see it. Thank you, Amy. In accordance to ChatGPT, but then you don't say it says. In accordance to ChatGPT, comma, collaborative writing may be helpful for students. That's the way you do it, Elena. In accordance to ChatGPT, comma, collaborative writing may be helpful for students. And there, I understand you are paraphrasing. And that's okay, because you are acknowledging. No worry. The version I'm about to show you here contains mistakes, which are like they make it evident that it was ChatGPT who made it. Because check this out. According to a response generated by ChatGPT OpenAI 2024, collaborative writings may support student, of course, we need the N here, engagement, sentence. This is a mistake for ChatGPT, but look at the way. According to a response generated by ChatGPT, OpenAI 2024, because it's the moment when it was created, collaborative writings may support student engagement. It's another way to say it. Based on information retrieved by ChatGPT, collaborative writing might be useful, for students. Thank you so much, Prof. Rodi. You see, guys, it's using AI, acknowledging that using it is not plagiarism. You are quoting. Do that from now on, please. And as teachers, tell your students this is the correct way to do it. Now, yes, Attack on Titans. And yes, I love anime. I want you guys on the chat to tell me some commitments that as future teachers you vow to, okay, you can see it, my hand is here, that you vow to. So as a future teacher, I commit to, for example, as a future teacher, I commit to set limits on the use of AI by explaining my students that it is a tool, not the ultimate person to do your job, for example. And I don't know if Professor Astrid is still connected. I think you wrote one for the previous group. Astrid, could you repeat it on the chat? And Professor Odi, if you want to participate as well. As a current professor, a commitment that you would like teach your students about AI. Come on, guys. Wanna read your productions. Commitments in the use of AI. I'm still here. So Astrid, would you please, if you remember, because I don't. I know you wrote something about this for the previous group. Would you repeat it on the chat? Mhm. Okay, let me read. Sorry, I was answering a message. As a teacher, I'm committed to guide myself and my students toward an ethical use of AI as a learning tool. Nice. Thank you, Professor Ori. Uh, Geraldine says, as a future teacher, I commit to check thoughtfully without taking for granted that they follow the rules about plagiarism. Exactly. As a teacher, I use AI to organize my schedule and check for references because that's one of the appropriate uses of AI, guys. Organize your schedule, check for references. Very good. Very good. Anybody else? Anybody else? Come on. Not Aaron, not Mikasa, not Arming are waiting for your commitment. As a future teacher, I commit to try and make my students use their critical thinking skills and not only rely on AI information and tools. Very good, Maria Isea. Nice. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. One more. One more. Come on. One more. Mhm. Aha, let me read you guys. Amy says, as a future teacher, I commit to guide my students to use AI as a tool and to encourage their critical thinking skills. Thank you so much. Because is yes, use it. In fact, let me see if I can find, let me give me a second. Let me uh, go to the one insight I'm taking with me today. Let me see if I can find the video I told you that I have regarding uh, the use of AI. Let me see if I can find it. Uh, because it's like a piece of a podcast. A piece of a podcast. Let me see if I can find it. Is it here? No. Materiales, is it here? Uh, Introduction to WordWall. You don't see anything, but I'm looking on my computer because I know I have a video I used with another group, and it shows uh, someone. It was a part of a podcast. Ah, I think did I delete it? The hell? I think I didn't because I cannot find it. Ah, well, I can find it. But the thing is, the summary of information. The podcaster was interviewing an educational expert from Mexico, and he said that in China, children are being taught on how to use AI uh, since they are in primary school. But in Mexico, he mentioned, they are still debating of whether we should use AI on our productions. Like that's how behind we are considering the Asian educational system. I think AI can be helpful sometimes, but I really hate what it does to our environment. Yes, yes, that's something that needs to be mentioned. Okay, guys, so, oh, let me stop sharing. Vuelvo ratito al español. Pues sí, en resumen, chicos y chicas, es una herramienta. Repito lo ocurrido para que quede como reflexión y quede grabado. También que no estoy diciendo nombres por si acaso. Hubo dos de esta materia, quienes la producción anterior, la que me acaban de entregar, la segunda evaluación, utilizaron inteligencia artificial. Recuerden que el trabajo era elegir un artículo y les di la libertad de que eligieran el artículo que ustedes quisieran. Hubo alguien que eligió sobre el juego Genshin Impact, una historia del lore del juego, una historia creada por fanáticos. Hey, si te gusta eso, adelante. Lo que me interesaba era que el artículo estuviera en inglés, que aplicaran la técnica de Bionic Reading que vimos en una clase y que luego hicieran un resumen. Ese resumen, alguien, no el del Genshin Impact, fue otra persona, alguien, dos personas en realidad, utilizaron inteligencia artificial para hacer el resumen. ¿Cómo me di cuenta? Comenzando, porque en la producción anterior, la primera evaluación, yo le encontré varios errores a la persona. Y ya uno como profe, profesora Astrid y la profesora Audi saben a qué me refiero. Ya uno como profe, uno se da la idea de, bueno, esta persona tiene buenas ideas, pero tiene varios errores gramaticales. Ya uno más o menos conoce el nivel de sus estudiantes. Aunque en mi caso no los vea cara a cara. Luego, en la segunda evaluación, está todo escrito, todo perfecto y con unas palabras que ni yo mismo conocía. No es que esté diciendo que yo sea perfecto y que me sé todo, pero unas palabras que yo, madre mía, una forma de redactar tan perfecta, un salto así de golpe en un mes. Fue extraño, utilicé la herramienta que tengo en ChatGPT que me ayuda a crear, le paso el texto. Y sí, efectivamente, ChatGPT me lo desglosó. Mira, esto es hecho por IA, por esto, por esto, por esto, esto es por esto. Listo. Y hasta la misma herramienta que tengo me dio más consejos de cómo detectarlo. Chicos, y repito, por si las personas que hicieron esto ven la grabación. No, yo me sentí intelectualmente ofendido porque yo dije, o sea, estas personas pensaron que me iban a engañar y no es porque yo sea el papá y tal. No, 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 no. Pensaron que no me iba a dar cuenta y me sentí también insultado porque yo tanto que me esfuerzo por darles el mejor contenido que puedo, tratar de educarles como a mí me habría gustado que me educasen. Sé que no soy el mejor, pero al menos me esfuerzo y que me salgan con que les dio pereza, entre comillas, hacer la evaluación, el resumen, agarraron y le dijeron a ChatGPT, a Gemini o lo que fuera que le hicieron el resumen y me lo lanzan allí. Por favor, por favor, recuerden, afortunadamente nuestro país ya empezó a tomar grandes pasos hacia la recuperación. ¿Y saben a qué me refiero? No lo digo porque esto va a quedar grabado y YouTube es medio, ustedes saben para estos temas. Ustedes van a ser, en teoría, los profesores que van a educar a esta nueva generación que comienza a dar pasos en la libertad. Y esto es lo que le van a enseñar que no, se van a graduar gracias a ChatGPT. Para eso lleven al creador de ChatGPT al aula magna de la UPEL para que le entreguen el título de profesor a él entonces. Así, así tal cual. Así tal cual, chicos. La inteligencia artificial es una herramienta. Recuerden que si les sale la oportunidad de salir del país para vivir en otro lugar, conseguir un mejor trabajo, qué sé yo, ustedes van a tener que hacer uso de lo que han aprendido como profesores. Y si lo que aprendieron fue a utilizar ChatGPT para que hiciera sus cosas, créanme que fuera del país los van a estrellar muchísimo más feo. Yo solamente lo estoy señalando lo que ocurrió. Por favor, no lo hagan. Cada persona tiene un estilo y patrones, son como la huella de cada quien, exacto. Ninguna inteligencia artificial escribe como uno. Se requiere un cambio de cultura. Recorrer atajos con ella no es, nunca es bueno, nunca, nunca. Hemos trabajado con los ejemplos. A ver, me gustaría que alguno de mis estudiantes, cualquiera, porfa, quien sienta que puede comentar, que me comente más o menos de la clase de hoy, de nuestra clase de hoy. ¿Qué conocimientos se llevan? Y hacer como una mirada introspectiva, decirme como estudiantes qué pueden hacer de ahora en adelante y qué piensan hacer como futuros profes. Y si son profes actualmente es mucho mejor. A ver, ¿alguno de mis estudiantes que quiera ayudarme con el cierre? A ver, ¿alguien, alguien? Que tenga micrófono, obviamente. Si no por el chat, tranquilo, si no por el chat, yo leo el mensaje, pero si es por micrófono, genial. Igual las profes Audi y las profes Astrid, si quieren, con mucho gusto, son bienvenidas a dar su punto de vista como profes, porque asumo se habrán encontrado con casos del estilo y se seguirán encontrando con casos del estilo que han hecho que piensan hacer. A ver, hello, ¿alguien? Anyone? Hello. Me dice Amy. Me gustó bastante la clase de hoy. Nunca había entendido bien cómo citar una IA y aunque no me encanta usarlo para todo, me parece importante saber cómo citar y evitar el plagio. Exacto, Amy, porque de pronto no usaste la IA con el ánimo de que hiciera todo por ti. No, no lo hiciste de esa manera, pero lo citaste incorrectamente y el profesor lo puede ver como que, ah, no, mira, Amy aquí utilizó IA y esto es plagio raspada y... Pero no fue tu intención, entonces hay que saber cómo citarla. Me dice Torres, personalmente no sabía que la IA puede ser citada como una fuente bibliográfica. Es algo relativamente nuevo por todo lo que estamos viendo actualmente, María. Es algo relativamente nuevo. De hecho, la UNESCO está trabajando durísimo con eso ahora para encontrar maneras de regular, de encontrar la manera de hacer entender a las personas que es una herramienta. Sí, puede hacer cosas inmensas por ti. Si quieres ahorrar tiempo y ay, haz tal cosa, ¡pum! Lo hace. Pero es una herramienta. Yo repito, todas las clases que he hecho de un tiempo para acá, las hago utilizando, antes de que tuviera ChatGPT Plus, usaba una combinación de ChatGPT y Gemini porque me daba límite de gratuito y eso. Ahora que tengo el ChatGPT Plus, es mucho más fácil usarlo, pero no es que yo le digo que haga todo por mí. Yo le doy la idea. Mira, tengo una clase para hablar sobre el uso ético de la inteligencia artificial. Quiero que los estudiantes trabajen con esto, esto, esto y esto. Quiero que hagan esto. ¿Qué estructura me propones? El outline. Entonces ChatGPT me dice, bueno, para el slide uno te recomiendo esto. Para el slide 2 te recomiendo... Y ahí empiezo el chat con él. Bueno, mira, en el slide uno me gustaría que pusieras esto, esto y esto y esto y esto. Y siempre le pongo, ¿qué me sugieres? Sí, profesor, me dice, me parece bien tu idea. Te recomiendo que pongas esto. Es una producción híbrida. La mayoría de todo está acá, por eso cuando hablo con tanta propiedad. Me dice Iraldín, el año pasado realizamos un ensayo con la profe Astrid casualmente sobre el plagio y definitivamente como estudiantes universitarios debemos informarnos de estos temas. Exacto. En mi caso, yo uso IA para aumentar mi conocimiento sobre algo que quiero mencionar en mis trabajos y para saber el uso de palabras o sinónimos. Yo uso mucho el uso de palabras, lo uso muchísimo. A veces una palabra que es, ¿cómo será? La busco rapidito. Ah, sí se usa de esa manera. La profe Astrid dice, incentivar el buen uso de la IA es imperativo en estos momentos. Por eso estas clases son de gran ayuda y debería ser parte de la materia TIC. Yo voy a estar en posgrado a cargo de la materia TIC casualmente y pienso hablar muchísimo de esto. Se nota bastante cuando copiamos todo el texto de la IA y lo pegamos para las evaluaciones. Ya me han entregado así y yo les digo que ok, que lo usen como herramientas, pero traten de analizar lo que les dice y lo hagan por ellos mismos. Asumo que das clase, Diego, por lo que estás diciendo. María Isa me dice, ¿Is it really reliable to use it as a viable bibliographical source? Sometimes it gives wrong information. Sí, hay que tener muchísimo. Por eso, eso es algo clave que menciona Isa acá. Y el mismo ChatGPT, cuando tú empiezas a hablar con él, debajo dice, ChatGPT puede cometer errores. Por favor, chequea la información. Chequeen eso, ocurre muchísimo. Yo vi una captura en donde le preguntaban a la IA de Google. ¿Sabe que Google ahora tiene versión IA y le puedes preguntar directamente? Alguien le puso Oreo al revés, el nombre de la galleta, Oreo al revés. Y la respuesta que le dio, no sé si ya lo acomodaron, pero la respuesta que le dio, Oreo al revés es Oreo. Es un palíndromo, una palabra que se puede leer al revés. Oreo al revés no es Oreo, es un error. Madre mía, la inteligencia artificial tiene dislexia. En Lowell hay un comité de ética. Yo diría ética, profe. Perdón, y usted sabe por qué lo digo, entre comillas, comité de ética. Y esto se toma muy en serio. La deshonestidad consigo mismo, aunque nadie se dé cuenta, igual es un crimen, claro. Cite la fuente en todo caso de duda. A ver, si usamos una calculadora es como una herramienta, pero usted primero aprende a sumar exacto, si no, no voy a saber qué rayos hay unos simbolitos. Es importantísimo. La IA puede ser un buen asistente, especialmente si le das prompts que involucren puntos de vista divergentes al tuyo. Exacto. Es que hasta el momento solamente se menciona en la materia Introducción a la lectura y la escritura del inglés, pero no en otras. Debería estar en ti y claramente, claro, claro. Yo le he comentado al profesor Abilio, hay muchas asignaturas que están demasiado desfasadas en el contenido. Por ejemplo, esta, Seminario de Lectoescritura y la hermanita menor de primer semestre, Introducción a la Lectura y Escritura en Inglés. Cuando me pone a cargo de ellas y me pasa el contenido, que es el que tiene ya Lopel registrado, I kid you not, la de Introducción a la Lectura y Escritura decía, creo que era el uso del diccionario. Yo, ¿qué? Uso del diccionario. Por favor, le comenté al profe Abilio. Disculpe, profe. Ese contenido está muy desfasado. ¿Me permite hacerle un update? Me dijo, sí, sí, siempre y cuando me envíes lo que hice. Y fue lo que hice. Le hice un update, profe, aquí está. Pum, tómelo la actualización que le hice, porque por favor, por eso estamos viendo esto de inteligencia artificial. En el programa eso no está. En el programa eso no está, pero ¿qué voy a hacer yo enseñándoles a ustedes a utilizar el diccionario si ya no se usa? O sea, sí se usa, pero un diccionario de librito, por favor. El uso de la debe estar en todos lados. Si lo dice, me dice la persona Astrid. Random story. The other day, I got accused of using AI because I use hyphens in my text. It pissed me off because I hate AI and just like to use hyphens. Porque, ¿qué pasa, Isea? Que no es entre comillas común que los estudiantes sepan utilizar los hyphens, los guiones. Pero, o sea, se nota, al menos a mí se me hace fácil ver cuando el texto fue producido por IA. A mí se me hace fácil. Y cuando lo veo, lo agarro, lo lanzo a ChatGPT, la herramienta que tengo, y le digo, mira, por favor, ¿me puedes verificar acá? Y listo, me dice, sí, aquí está. Así como puedo agarrar otro texto de alguien que sé que no usó, le digo que revise y, de hecho, voy a buscar rapidito, que tenemos tiempo. Voy a buscar rapidito, sin mostrarles, porque todo buen mago nunca revela sus trucos. Voy a buscar un pedacito de lo que el ChatGPT me dijo cuando estaba corrigiendo los trabajos de ustedes y cuando hubo o sea, yo por probar la herramienta, luego de encontrar uno de los que utilizó IA, utilicé otro que sé que no había usado IA y les voy a copiar en el chat lo que ChatGPT me dijo, la herramienta de ChatGPT. Déjenme buscar rapidito. A ver, déjenme chance, disculpe. ¿Dónde estás? Hubo una parte donde claramente me dice, no detecté ningún uso de inteligencia artificial por esto y por esto. To show the receipt, para que vean que no es que lo hago por hacerlo. Momento. A ver, ¿dónde está? Me si lo puedo buscar por el buscarlo directamente. A ver, AI. A ver, ahí está. Solo hay un pequeño error de puntuación. O lo voy a hacer. Denme chance. Y disculpe que estoy tomando de tiempo, pero para que quede también grabado, voy a agarrar un trabajo, no voy a decir de quién. Voy a agarrar un trabajo de uno de ustedes que sé que no usó inteligencia artificial y le voy a pedir, voy a tomar la parte del resumen y le voy a decir a esa herramienta de ChatGPT que revise si esa persona utilizó inteligencia artificial. Déjenme un chancecito de copiar, que lo único engorroso es que hay que copiar manualmente desde el artículo y luego sí se pega de una vez. Déjenme que estoy copiando manualmente, pero se escucha en el teclado, tac, 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 tac. Porque no sé qué pasa con mi PDF, el reader, que no me permite con el ratón seleccionar todo de un solo golpe. Y no quiero seleccionar todo, necesito seleccionar partes. A ver, denme chancecito. Get mini essay para que ustedes vean lo que me dice la herramienta de ChatGPT. Estoy copiando la reflexión. A ver, Dios mío, qué lentitud. Disculpen una vez más. Pero esto pasa como quien dice, esto pasa cuando el programa es en vivo. Y no estoy viendo su pantalla, chicos, porque estoy metido ¿cómo se llama este coso? La Acrobat Reader. Y en serio está seleccionando todo demasiado lento, no sé por qué. Ok, perfecto, ahora sí. Copiar, lo voy a pegar en la herramienta de ChatGPT. Le voy a decir, por favor, yo le digo Sensei. Por favor, Sensei, revisa este texto y dime si detectas uso de inteligencia artificial. A ver, ahí le di. Mi computadora se quedó congelada, pues está pensando. Pero ya les voy a mostrar lo que dice ChatGPT. Denme un chancecito mientras lo está leyendo. Leo lo que no he leído. I can relate to the story. Worse, it happened to a text I wrote 25 years ago. So I traveled to the future and back to... Eres la pionera, Audi. Eres la pionera de la inteligencia artificial. Yo que tú reclamo mis regalías, chama. Yo que tú reclamo mis regalías. On Next and TikTok, I saw people that graduated from university in 2003 and around those years trying a tool to detect AI with their thesis, and it said they did 2003. They were confused because AI didn't even exist. It made me scared of getting accused of plagiarism. No, en ese caso tienes la prueba 2003. Mire, voy a copiar exactamente lo que me dice la herramienta para que ustedes vean. Yo sé que esta persona, perdón, no utilizó IA. No voy a decir quién es. Voy a copiarlo tal cual me lo dijo. Está en el chat. No aparece todo porque es muy largo, pero fíjense lo que me dice. Lo voy a poner en el chat. A ver, es como que muy largo. Oh, man. Déjenme borrar algo porque como que toma mucho. A ver. Me da risa que ChatGPT utiliza emoticones y varias otras cositas que dan risa cuando utiliza IA. A ver. Madre mía, aún faltan muchas cosas. Bueno, ¿por qué no puedo? Aún está muy largo y aquí tengo a mi gatita también mordiéndome los dedos. Entonces, así no está fácil intentar trabajar con ustedes y teniendo... Los que tienen gatos me entienden. Ah, deja. Ajá, fíjense, esa es una parte. Dice, ¿hay evidencia de uso de IA en el mini ensayo? Probablemente no. Aquí están los argumentos que sustentan esta conclusión. Indicadores de autoría humana, voz personal clara y emocional. Frases como Sometimes a strange song gives me a feeling I didn't know how to name until I heard it. Reflejan introspección emocional y una voz personal que es difícil de simular por una IA sin que suene artificial o genérica. Estructura no mecánica ¡Ay! Ni excesivamente perfecta. Aunque el texto está bien redactado, no cae en la perfección artificial que a menudo delata una IA. Por ejemplo, hay una mezcla de frases cortas y largas y la organización de ideas fluye de manera natural, no algorítmica. Eso es solo un ejemplito de lo que esta herramienta que les dije me da. Ven, y a mí me consta que esa persona no usó IA. Lo que hice fue que agarré su resumen, ¡pum!, lo lancé allí. ¿Ven? Pero no voy a botar el ejemplo de quien sí usó, pero porque van a... ¡Ah! Igual esa persona sabe, si no le he enviado su nota, Flash News. Sí, News Flash, ¿qué digo? Ok. Ven acá, gorda. Es mi gata, por si acaso. Ven acá. No, tampoco se deja agarrar, me muerde. Ok, chicos. Muchas gracias por haber asistido a la clase de hoy. El próximo sábado, eh, voy al final de la clase, me tomaré los últimos 20 30 minutos para explicar con lujo de detalles de qué va la próxima evaluación. Es decir, el próximo sábado asignaré la nueva evaluación. Si por razones de Venezuela, de problemas de electricidad, no se pueden conectar, recuerden que esta grabación yo la subo a YouTube una vez que se procesa. Y por favor, recuerden, si no se pudieron conectar, al menos vean la grabación en YouTube. Y recuerden, los últimos 20 o 30 minutos está explicada la evaluación con lujos de detalle para que no estén durante la semana, profes, que no sé, es que no entendí. Está ahí explicadito. Por favor. Muchísimas gracias, profes Astrid y Audi, por haber. Ah, Astrid se desconectó, pero bueno, gracias por haberse conectado. A los chicos también, muchas gracias. Nos vemos el próximo sábado. Bye bye.